We all know this. We all have experienced this. Rank hurts. Solo in Splatoon hurts. You'll gain 2, you'll lose 20. You'll gain 3, you'll lose 50. It's insane. And honestly, it's one of those things that as much as you hate it, you at the same time you love it. Because when you actually do gain 50 points or you gain 30, you're like the most grateful person in the world. I don't care who you are. When you gain plus 30 in Splatoon or you rank up and you skip like 3 ranks, you're like the most happiest go luckiest person because you're just like, yay, I got it. Oh my god. But let's be honest here. Grinding in Splatoon, not the easiest thing. Grinding in solo? Oof. Yeah, okay. Not the simplest thing. That's why we're here. Let's do this. I got some tips. I got some tricks. And we can work this out. We can win some solo games. And you guys can improve. I can improve too. Let's improve together. In order to win most rank X games, it's really simple. All you have to do is identify the win condition, and adapt to the situation at hand. I'm not joking with you. It is that simple. All you got to do is those 2 things, but those 2 things are more broad and more complex when you kind of get into it. Let's talk about, let's talk about identifying win condition first. We have all been in that position where we're pushing on tower last second, it's overtime, and then out of nowhere, GG Ray comes out. Stingray comes out and it starts hitting the tower, and all you could do is get off and just not be able to get lead. You hate it. I hate it, you hate it. We all hate being on the receiving end of a Stingray, and it's just killing, and it just kills our push. We all hate it. But the truth is that if you're able to identify the fact that in order to win, you have to get rid of their Stingray weapon or their Stingray weapons, if there's multiple of them, the good thing to do is just constantly charge and beat. Like if you're a player who has Stingray in their kit, then when they pop Stingray, you have to make sure that you also have saved Stingray so that you're able to then counter their Stingray with your Stingray. Or a good example is that if you're an inkjet player or you're a frontline player and you're someone who sees that they're Stingray, or you notice that the charger has Stingray and you're able to flank and get the charger, you're able to eliminate their Stingray, you immediately eliminated their defense, their anchor player, the player that they needed in order to just safely stay on tower or safely stay back and just GG Ray. You're able to eliminate that. That means that from then on, the team is now down. The enemy team is down a player. The enemy team no longer has Stingray as a special, as eliminating them and splatting them removes the special, which is amazing. So because of that, if it's overtime, you eliminate the charger, or even during a push in the beginning. If you're able to do that, from there, you just notice that, hey, they don't have anything to counter us. We're able to then push in. Another example of this is if a player is really aggro and that's their best player, the player that is constantly killing 1 or 2 of your teammates, and it's constantly putting you guys down. If you're able to then just all focus him together, just doing that forces them to A, play differently and not be able to just have free range on your teammates. B, if you're able to get them, then you're able to eliminate them, and from there, just you turn a 4v4 into a 3v4, which is really good. But also, you've gotten rid of their quote-unquote, air quotations, I know you can't see it, but air quotation. You've gotten rid of their win condition. You've gotten rid of their top player, the person that's constantly going in, getting 3 splats, 5 splats, just going in and just wiping your entire team with 1 quad and just 1 inkjet, just like pop, pop, pop. It's insane. But being able to remove them and realizing that they're their team's win condition, that's how they win. If you're able to realize what your opponent's win condition is and yours as well, and you're able to then play to then get your win condition to actually matter and just eliminate their win condition, you can most likely make a push, make a push and just immediately get lead from that. You're able to do so much based off of that. I know I briefly touched on saving your special and having it so that you're then able to eliminate and you're then able to stop a push or counter their pushes. But something that's also really important to keep in mind is that sometimes specials make or break a game, and if you're able to save a special like Stingray and make sure that you don't get wiped, as the best thing you're doing in Splatoon is sometimes if the push is dead, jump out. If you don't have a reason to be there and you don't feel comfortable being there, jump out. Why? Because you don't give because when you get splatted, you paint the floor in your enemy's team color. That makes your enemy have more map control, which you don't want to give them, which is 1. 2, when you get splatted, you lose your special. You don't keep it. So it's really important for that. If you're able to jump out and stay alive, you don't give your enemy map control. You don't give your enemy more special gate, like you build up their specials, but also you keep your own special. You keep all the special that you've built up. You're then able to keep it so that if you have Stingray and they're starting to make a push, because the worst thing to do is that if the enemy wipes 3 of your teammates and you're the charger player or you're the backline player and you have Stingray, if they can wipe all 3 of them, but you're able to stay alive and you jump out, you then have Stingray and just go wop wop wop. You're able to then stop their push, generally speaking, with the help of your teammates. It's so much easier. It's so much. Also, another thing to do is that even though you are saving your special, you have to realize when and when not to use your special, as that's honestly when it comes down to, well, adapting. Adapting is very something it's very simple in context of just, well, all you got to do is just know when to do this and know when to do that. But the reality is that you have to take, every game is different. Every Splatoon game is different. Everything, what the enemy team comp can be different. The what map it is could be different. Anything could change in Splatoon, and things very much, it's a 5-minute game. It's very rapid. You have to learn to adapt and just constantly be aware of how to best change up how you play compared to your team comp. If you have 3 chargers and a sploosh, you generally want to have your sploosh flank and annoy their team, not just running at the enemy team frontlining just straight forward, because generally speaking, the sploosh goes down. Now your team has no real frontline cover, no one to really offset them, and the charger players have to generally play differently and play very awkwardly. It's a mess for everyone. But if you're able to adapt to the situation, you go, all right, cool. We have a sploosh player. They should go flank. The sploosh player flanks. The sploosh gets 1 or 2 on the enemy and just flanks them, and the chargers are able to pick off the other 2 players. That's a quad. That's a wipe right there. You then have eliminated the enemy team, and all because you were able to adapt to the situation and know that, hey, I have to play a little different. I can't just play 1v1 front to front. I have to flank. I have to do this. I need to save my special more because we don't have a frontline presence that can easily dominate them. Therefore, I need to save Stingray for when we push. I need to save Stingray for when we need to defend. Because something that's really useful is that if your team is pushing, and you then get you have Stingray or Booyah Bomb, you then pop Stingray or Booyah Bomb, and you then annoy the enemy team, because now the enemy team has to deal with the other 3 players. It has to deal with your other players pushing up and contesting them, and they have to win those 1v1s. But it makes your teammates' job easier winning those 1v1s when they have a Booyah to back them up, or they have a Stingray to back them up. No enemy team, you've been on the receiving end. You hate fighting a person one-on-one, and then out of nowhere another teammate shows up. It's just one of their teammates show up to just make a 1v1 or 2v1. You hate that. Or you hate the fact that when you're in a 1v1 out of nowhere, you randomly start getting Stingray, so now you're even weaker, and the enemy team is then able to beat you down. It's stuff like that learning to adapt and just realizing that, hey, XYZ player is in a 1v1, I should go help them. I should go assist them. At the same time, if you're getting that assistance, you have to kind of realize going, wait, I have a player helping me on my right. I should stay in this 1v1, because even if I stay in this 1v1 and I go down, if my teammate is able to then take that 1v1 and beat them, and we're able to, if we're able to splat them, then boom, even though I'm down and they're down, we're technically up because the map control is ours. We still have a player in the front line. We didn't simply just trade and nothing occurred from it. Nothing happened from it. So it's really important that if you have a teammate on you, you then assist and then go into a 2v1. The worst thing you want to do in rankx is run away from a teammate and turn a potential 2v1 into a 1v1 again, all because you got scared. You have to learn to adapt and assist your teammates and back up your teammates, as the only way to win in rankx is to work as a team. The only way to work in solo is to work as a team. Yes, it is solo. I get that. It's like you have. At the same time, it's realizing like, hey, they're gonna push in now with armor or bomb rush, and I have to build up Stinger, and I have to build up my special to counter theirs, like Booyah Bomb or Hammer, and just constantly going in. Okay, cool. They have XYZ special. Cool. I have one special that nullifies their 2 specials. You make value out of that. you learn how to best utilize and best adapt to the situation and best at hand. A good example of like adapting actually is learning when to flank. Learning when to flank. Like a lot of times we have all been here where a teammate of ours would go flank, and they would go around and go a right side. But the problem is that by the time that they flank, it's too late. By the time that the path that they take is too long, and sometimes they'll be distracted by 1 or 2 splats and try and go really splat hungry and try and get those like splats. But the problem is that they missed the objective, and then what we needed was someone to go behind and annoy the team. Ends up just turning into our teammate flanked, our teammate died, now we no longer have that. Now instead of a 4v4, it's now a 3 or 2v4 just because this one teammate decided to flank at the wrong time. It's learning to adapt, is learning when is the best time to flank, learning when to best go around and flank the teammates and flank the enemy. I mean, an example of this is that if your team is making a push and you're able to get one pick down, or in the beginning of a push, you're able to then sneakily flank and go around and just pick off their backline or pick off another player, you then just instantly turned a 4v4 into a 4v2, a 4v3, all because you just annoyed them and you're able to just do that. But you also have to realize that if you're flanking and your teammates go down, you have to quickly jump out. You have to quickly swim back. You can't just continue to go on the flank unaware of what's happening. Something that's really important to do is that keep track of specials and keep track of who's alive and who's down. You could do this by instantly looking up and looking at the what do you call that? I guess the player markers. Like, does that even have an official terminology? I'm gonna just call it the player markers. The player markers that show what weapons they are, and if it's glowing, it shows that they have special. So if you're able to realize that, hey, their charger has special, I realize that, and you're playing like charger as well, you build up your stingray. You build up the stingray so that you're able to then get ready for that when they pop stingray. Or you realize, hey, the enemy charger doesn't have stingray now, and we're making a push. I could pop stingray now and annoy their backline and annoy their entire team, and I'll be safe because we're both trying to build up special. So it's fine. I have time to build up special again after I use the stingray. Or an example of this is that you then see, hey, they have 4 specials coming up. We only have 1. I shouldn't technically use this right now after we just wiped their entire team because it won't provide any value. I should probably save this special so that when they push back in, I'm able to then get them. That's a good example of when and when not to, and just adapting to the situation. You're able to then realize, hey, hold up, I just saw that we're 2 down, we're 2v4. If you're playing a scrim, I also did this as well. It's like when we had a teammate go down, I was like, all right, cool, 3v4, 2v4, 4v2, 4v3, push up. Like, you having a player that is able to do that assists the team because they are able to have someone tell them, hey, there's 2 players down on their team. We're in the advantage. Go, push. Another thing that's important while actually playing solo in general is constantly checking map and checking that you have map control. As the worst thing you want to do is be in a position where you're just constantly getting flanked because no one's checking map. Constantly having map control and checking map to see where your opponents are, to see if your jump to a teammate is safe or not, helps a lot. And just checking map helps a lot in Splatoon, and just learning to constantly check the map, but also check for flanks, be aware of what's around you. Helps a lot because that's being very aware of your surroundings helps with you realizing, oh, I'm getting flanked right now, I should jump out. Or if someone is sharking, you're able to then quickly notice them and you're like, oh wait, they're sharking, bop, you're able to get them hella quickly and you're able to eliminate them. So that helps a lot, checking the map and constantly checking to see what's happening, how's the firefight progressing, if I'm able to jump to a teammate or not. As sometimes the best thing to do as a teammate is just swim and not jump up if it's not safe. If it's safe and you're able to, and your teammates in cover and they're not getting rushed by an enemy, jump ahead. If you have self jump ahead. But if you generally don't have those things, it's sometimes better to just swim and just make it out and go to mid, take those 5 extra seconds to go to mid rather than just jumping and dying, because it helps your team, especially if your team is sharking. If your teammate is sharking, don't jump to them because it's easier for them to just straight up shark and not be marked as when you jump, you have a whole jump marker, and sometimes that makes the enemy realize, oh hey, there's someone there, and they'll quickly turn their attention. They'll turn all their attention to that one person, which sucks because that'll call out you and your teammate. This is Future Monkey going back and realizing that I didn't mention that I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time over on twitch.tv/monkey368_. I know, long title. It's in the description. Check it down below. Love you guys. All right, now this is the end of the video. Later. Nice, Sue. You gotta clip it. You gotta do the YouTube. You gotta do the Twitter. But
nah, it's just a splash.
Hey, I may or may not have messed up. I may or may not. I jumped. Okay, I went to squid form and tried to jump on the platform to try and get more height or like more verticality or whatever. And then like I immediately like missed